Hi everyone. I think we might have had some technical issues here in the beginning. That is our everyday life. But let's start now welcoming everyone to today's Barona Talks Finance. The second one this year, and this time it's in English. The topic today is successful digitalization of the finance function. My name is Johanna and I'm the CEO of Barona in Sweden. Barona provides recruitment, staffing, training, and outsourcing services all over Sweden and in different business lines. And today I'm moderating an exciting discussion on AI, digitalization, and resource strategies with a great panel of experts I have with me here. But before I start with introducing our panel, I would like to welcome all of you digital viewers and listeners that has joined us today. We are so happy that you are joining us, and you are welcome to ask your questions to the panel in the chat function, and I will get to the questions in the end of the webinar. So I'm turning to my great panel here of experts, and I'm starting with Hanna, VP of Sales at Snowfox. Welcome. Tell me a little bit about your background and your current role.
Absolutely. So, as you said, I'm VP of Sales for the Nordics at Snowfox. Have a long-standing background within SaaS sales. Been doing that for many years now at different companies. Started at Snowfox approximately a year ago, building up the sales department in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark.
Interesting journey ahead for you then. And warmly welcome. And our next guest, Anna Hane, Head of Accounting at Barona in Sweden. What are your responsibilities? And maybe a few words about your experience on digitalization in your current role.
Yes, of course, and great to be here. Always nice to get a chance to escape your normal responsibilities. As the Head of Accounting at Barona, I would say I tend to both highs and lows. And I am very present in our day-to-day operations as well as more complicated issues. And one of those more complicated things are, of course, system development and system changes. So we have just recently changed our invoice handling system for accounts payables, where Snowfox plays an imperative role. So I would definitely say we are trying to not just keep up with the technical development, but also staying a little bit ahead. So that's where we are currently at.
Warmly welcome and nice to have you here, Anna. And finally, Pasi Vilhunen, CFO of Bravedo. Please tell me shortly about your background and maybe how your everyday life looks like at work.
Yes, Pasi Vilhunen, nice to be here. And shortly about my background, I have been in the different kind of financial functions 25 years already, and been part of the first workflow systems in Finland, piloting that at that time in Metso, and thinking already at that time that this really needs some automizing these processes. And later on, I was participating in some of the seminars, and I was a speaker there, and people were asking me about the robotics, and then I said that I don't believe in robotics. I believe something else, that AI is the future. And okay, I have reversed a little bit from the robotics, because we have some robotics also, but the AI was the first thing we started to develop, and we will discuss about it more.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone. Such interesting backgrounds and roles you all have. Well, and now moving to the topic of the day. And AI is the word on everyone's lips. And lately we have heard and read a lot about AI in the news and in social media, both the many upsides, but also sometimes about the fear of AI when not used correctly. However, the AI we will talk about today is nothing to fear, on the contrary. And today we will try to shed some light on how AI can take care of repetitive and routine tasks, and how it can help finance functions and companies to save cost, as well as other positive results and side effects from these processes. And Pasi, I know you have quite a good story to tell, about the time when you got a demo on a recruitment system and led to some new ideas. So please tell us more.
Yes, I remember that moment very well. It was a few years back when the guys were developing this AI for the recruiting, and it was really good, and we are still using in Barona that same AI. But I remember that we were in the meeting room and guys were presenting how the AI works in the recruiting, and I realized right away that okay, that can be used in the AP process as well. And we started the project right away after that meeting, and here we are now. Now we have Snowfox, and it's selling pretty well in the Nordics at the moment. So that's shortly about the background.
Yes,
it was just an idea that let's try it.
Well, it's so exciting to hear when ideas become reality, and it's also very inspiring. But how would you say that? What were the biggest benefits from this project, and what were the results?
That is something that we developed in the beginning for ourselves only, and we had a problem already that time that we had like almost 100 companies, legal companies, and we are using 14 different dimensions in the management accounting, and it ended up that we had already that time like 5 million different kind of how do you call it, combinations in the dimensions. So 5 million. So if you put people to make the postings, all these different 5 million postings, it's impossible. So it was a real relief to get this kind of AI start to work and start to do it. And we always need to remember that the AI is not doing 100% correct, but I can guarantee that it's nowadays making it less mistakes than people. So that's also, you have to remember that if you put people to do this amount of the dimensions, they are making mistakes, which is normal, which is human. But then if you put the machine to the same thing, it gives you more accuracy than people. And so when you have a lot of volumes, it definitely gives you a huge benefit and cost savings. Cost savings is actually the biggest thing that we also have got. We are nowadays handling 6 times more vouchers than earlier with the same cost. So that's shortly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what would you say are maybe the lessons learned, or the biggest lessons that you learned from this project?
Okay, it's not always easy. So we are using already the third technology, which is now, we have also learned, we are developing different softwares in the group, and more or less it always goes so that you make the first pilot coding, then you improve it with the second one, the third one is the good one.
Yeah.
And that's what happens also with the Snowfox, and now it's pretty good, and the technology is such that we can scale it up, and we can take customers in to the system, and no problem.
And it's such a good user case when you develop it for yourself, and then you're able to sell it. But just to make people or make it a bit clearer, what's from this day you had an idea until today when it's working really well, and the third technology and 6 times more vouchers for the same cost. What are the timeline roughly from?
Maybe we started developing it like 6 years ago, and Snowfox was established a little bit more than 4 years ago. So we have been on the markets. So it took maybe 2 years to develop for ourselves the system, and then we had the first pilot customers more than 4 years ago, and they are still customers. So we haven't lost any. Maybe 1 or 2 really small customers we have lost. But all the bigger one, they are still customers, and they are really happy for this Snowfox, because it's no-brainer. It's saving so much cost.
Amazing, really. And Hanna, you have been working, like you said, with Snowfox and establishing that in other countries for a year now. And what would you say? What are you when you're talking to potential clients, and what are the biggest benefits for your clients or potential clients today?
I mean, if we look at concrete values, as Pasi said, that's cost savings, I would say, because it's. I'm not sure if I know any other system or like add-on, as we call it, that gives you such concrete cost-saving value. And if we look at the economy today, I mean, like investing in new systems is not really something that a lot of companies want to do. But if we look, yeah, but if we look at Snowfox, this is really built for even like times like this. You would save a lot of cost. Not only a lot of cost, but if we look at secondly, I mean, to be able to streamline something that has never been more or less streamlined. If we look at robots, it's not really automating. You still have to maintain so much of these rule-based frameworks. But this is automation for real.
Yeah.
I was just adding that who really likes to spend time on the invoices and make the postings. Tell me one from your organization. So this AI is doing the work.
Exactly.
The boring work.
Yeah.
And just to add to that also, I mean, like if we look at the people that is working with this right now, they're highly educated to do so much more. And they can do so much more for the company. And with Snowfox folks coming in, they can actually bring their real value to the company, I think.
Okay, letting you, Anna, into the discussion. I mean, I'm sure you have thoughts on the future of the finance function and the changes we are looking at. So.
Yeah, sure. And I have not been working within finance for super long, about 7 or 8 years, but I have seen a great development in this short period of time. When I first started, we did not have a combination of 5 million dimension combinations, but when I first started, we printed everything, and it was a lot of manual processes, and the tools that we did have were more of a headache than a friend. But now with these smarter softwares that we do see, the manual steps will become fewer. And we as a department can put our time and resources into more value generating things. We can do everything from deep diving into sick leave statistics, or we can improve processes for other departments. We can shorten decision times and implementation times, making sure our colleagues spend their time doing what they do best. So I would say the future for the finance department is to being a business development partner, because as Hanna said as well, we cannot increase turnover, but we can be more efficient. We can save costs. And if we are more efficient, our company will be more successful.
And I'm thinking actually, if you move from correcting and manual work to advising and a true business support, you can actually indirect increase revenue and increase profitability.
Yes,
I think
exactly. It's not black and white.
So, I mean, what we're saying here is that AI can save cost and also maybe create space for more meaningful work and new roles and maybe more sustainable business strategies for companies. And all of that sounds good, really. But there's also something deeply human, I think, with fearing these changes and maybe also, of course, affecting what kind of resources we have and maybe how many in the finance department. So I'm a little bit getting back to you here, Pasi, like how did you handle that in this project at Bravedo?
Yeah, that is a good question. we used to have like 14 people in the AP process, plus the the white collar people in the organization handling the invoices, and currently we are using less than 3 people's hours in the whole process, and at the same time the amount of the invoices has it's much bigger. So what happened actually we have been in a good position that we have been growing as a group, and people have found out new roles in our company, and also in the financial department roles they have changed totally. I mean that we used to have this kind of a silos for everything, and now people are more happy that they can use I mean do the whole processes, and so there has been a lot of changes in the process wise and what people are doing, and of course Barona has helped us also to find new roles for these people. So we have kind of already used people, but we have almost all of them have got a new job from somewhere. So I would recommend that Barona helps all the others as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. And Anna, how do you think? I mean, resourcing and resourcing strategies. How are they affected when we digitize and rationalize in the finance department? Like, what do these changes require in terms of competence or?
Yeah, I think that's like a multi-level question. I think if we look at our more junior colleagues, I think they need to develop their analytical skills and an analytical eye sooner on or earlier on in their careers. And they need to be able to explain not just what they see, but why they see it to generate value. And I think our more senior colleagues need to take a more teaching and inspiring role, and not just teach tasks, but rather encourage characteristics such as curiosity and self-drive. And if we do that, then people will sort of automatically turn to seeing what other value can I create. They will continue to create value in new ways as long as you have those characteristics. Because if we look at the traditional finance person, it's a person who is meticulous, who has high integrity, and who has the ability to do many or tend to many details at once. And those things are still important, but I think we need to broaden that description to also include curiosity and also system knowledge. Because without system knowledge, we will just do and repeat. And we run the risk of getting errors, but also how can we trust our systems if we don't know what they do? And also curiosity is important if we are to do this transition into being a business development partner. You need to have that sort of mindset to want to know more and to want to learn more. So I think those are the core things.
Interesting. And do you see any, like, what are the biggest challenges then in that process, or have you seen anything of that?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is, as I said, the traditional view on what is a good accountant. A good accountant has had those like attention to detail, that sort of personality, but I think we're switching from that to also being able to communicate what you see and to have the network within the organization and to bring worth in new ways. So you need to have a more social personality, which can be difficult for some people because you tend to get into finance because you like numbers, but maybe are not like super much of a people person. Of course, with endless varieties, but that's what I think.
Maybe it even has an impact on how our universities and
Yes.
Other educational institutions should look at the role or the development in the future as well.
Yes, because I think, as you say, like when these manual steps disappear, that has been our traditional way of teaching new people how is our organization built, how does it work, how do you enter general ledger entries, how do you book an invoice, those types of things that will now be sort of done for you. So you need to be able to share your knowledge and what you have learned and your experience, and to get better at like internal knowledge sharing. If you do that, then the knowledge won't go anywhere. It will stay within the organization. So you need to have this want to know and focus on the why and not just the how. And that, I think, is very important.
But getting very, very concrete, Hanna, what are your best tips for companies looking to digitize finance department?
I mean, I think especially finance department, I think you should be very curious about solutions out there. I think you should not be afraid of changing status quo. Just because it has been one way for so long, it doesn't mean that it needs to be like that going forward. And I think a lot of companies are actually starting to realize that, okay, well, we can start looking at, for instance, AI, how it could help us. But I also think it's very important, like demanding different things from your suppliers, not only the product in itself. You need to be able to demand. I mean, if we look at implementing the solution, demand that the supplier can help you out not only with the technical stuff, but also maybe if you're looking into security aspects of it, maybe if we're looking at the legal parts of it. I think that's very important also to look not to look at, but also to demand. I think thirdly, I think a good provider within any field, more or less, should be able to offer you some sort of test or try this out and see what kind of effect you would be able to have implementing this. That is something that we value very much at Snowfox, and I think that is very important.
And if I'm buying your service today, what would you say? What is the project timeline, and how long does it take to implement your software?
I mean, implementation doesn't really take that long. Implementation is really dependent on, I would say mostly we talk about it as a plug-and-play solution for our customers. For us, it's a bit of a, we need to set up like a project group, but the customer shouldn't feel that they need to allocate IT resources or a project leader to implement. So it could take as fast as 2 to 3 weeks, but even faster in some cases.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm buying.
Yeah.
Already have, actually. Okay, so before taking like listeners' questions, do you have anything more to add to this discussion?
No, maybe if I add something that first of all, I mean that normally companies they understand really well what they are doing or what is their production, and they are measuring their production efficiency very, very closely. But when you go to the back office functions, then you have not been measuring that so well. So first thing I would propose to everyone is to go into details in the back office functions and understand them, make them like a visible what are the processes there and how do you measure them, what are the kind of key indicators there, and then start to kind of look at okay, we are spending this much hours to this process or part of this process, and then you should look at it, okay, let's do this, and then you can use also RPA, not only the AI, but there are places that you can use the RPA and so on. But first understand the processes that you have.
So the groundwork first, what kind of processes do we have to make more efficient or automate or work with RPA, and then procure the best solution and implement. So, I mean, it's obvious we can't avoid development, digitalizing, automation, and so we just need to adjust and find ways to move forward side by side with it. That's what I'm taking with me. But we have a few listener questions, so I will read them to you. So Are there any industries for which the Snowfox service, for example, is less or more suitable?
Not really. If we look at the customers that we have today using us, we have, I don't know how many different categories, many of them. I think what we're looking for is customers that have a high volume of invoices, because the system needs to be able to make a difference. So what industry is not really the most important. It's more, is this a headache for you guys? Then you probably have some type of or a bigger volume of invoices. That's what we're mainly looking for.
So more the amount of transactions or invoices than the certain industry. Okay, yeah, thank you. And talking maybe more generally, is there anything to watch out for in terms of certain type of tools or fee models or anything in this industry?
I mean, like if we look at how we have built our model, we start from there. We only charge when the AI actually has done a correct prediction. And when it has not done a correct prediction, it costs nothing. So in that sense, I think it's a really sound business model, because it's really dependent on us doing a good job. If we cannot do that, you shouldn't pay either. Something to watch out for. Maybe you have something.
I was just going to say the same, that there is a small, this kind of a fixed cost for it, but then we are charging for the transactions and the transactions that we are doing correctly. And so that makes it kind of a no-brainer for the customer to take it into use, and or at least to test it.
Okay, and one question here about maybe resourcing or recruitment, and when some Snowfox or any other type of like services is implemented that is making the work more efficient and so on. So is there any like unique role that will need to be recruited, or do you have any input in that, in terms of that?
You mean the recruiting new staff?
Yes, yes.
I don't know, is there anything special, but nowadays everyone needs to be kind of adaptable for different kind of tasks. So that I would point out that.
And maybe from me then to you, Anna, you have quite recently implemented Snowfox and a new system. So how do you see in your everyday life what is going to be required of you and your department moving forward?
That's a good question. I think I usually jokingly say that my role nowadays is more of like a project participator than actually working with accounting. So I would say that you need to have, like, when I started and we needed to change a system or maintain a system, me and my finance colleagues sort of left it to the development team, and we're like, they do their thing, that's not our thing, we will see how it works, and then we will just complain but if it doesn't work. But nowadays you need to take a much more active part, and you need to know how things affect other things. So if we set that the export will collect data X, Y, and Z here, how will that turn out there? So you need to have that sort of mindset, and you need to be you need to realize that you will need to take a more active part in those types of projects, and you need to have sort of a system interest to make sure that the system works for you and not against you, or whatever software it is that you're working with. So yeah, a much more curious mindset, I would say.
And one question maybe to you, Pasi. is there anything you would have done differently if you had started this implementation project today?
No, sure. We would have done the third generation in the beginning because it wasn't easy in the beginning, and the main difficulty was actually that people didn't understand it. So people didn't understand it, and then the other thing was that if the AI was making a mistake, one from 100, it was a big issue. And no one was talking about when the people were making 10 mistakes from 100, but when it was making one mistake, it was a big issue. But then you have to kind of understand the whole picture, that it makes your work more efficient. Like Anna also said, that you can concentrate on other things, and it's really easy to check the invoice when you have the posting lines there. They are normally correct. I do it myself pretty much. I'm checking the main things and sometimes correcting something, but normally I don't need to do anything else. But sure, there are some issues that I would have done differently.
Well, I think actually that was all of the questions from our listeners, and it has been a very interesting conversation indeed. And I am thinking that maybe you will have questions, or maybe you want to get in contact with anyone of us here. So I think that shortly we will see the picture that you saw in the beginning again. And so if you want to know more about Snowfox, Barona or Bravedo, and you can find my contact details here in the picture, and you can scan the QR code to get to the LinkedIn profile and direct contact to Anna, Hanna, and Pasi. And of course, you should keep an eye out for the next Barona Talks, which is coming soon. So from my side, thank you very much for listening and for all your interesting questions. And a huge thanks to my panel of experts joining today. So thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.